So let's talk about an idea that feels, well, almost backward in today's world. The incredible power of keeping your goals to yourself. In a culture that's all about share everything, we're going to dive into the psychology of private progress. Let's explore that hidden strength of moving in silence.
Here's the big question we're tackling. We're always told, go public. Tell everyone your ambitions, that's how you succeed. But is that actually true? This whole explainer is going to challenge that idea and ask, is broadcasting your goals the only way? Or is there a quieter, maybe even more powerful path? And really, it all boils down to these two completely different approaches. On one side, you've got social accountability. That's the loud method, right? Announce it to the world, create that pressure, and get motivated by what everyone else thinks. But on the other side, you've got silent ambition. This is the quiet path, where you work behind the scenes and all the motivation comes from inside.
All right, first let's look at the pressure of the public promise. We live in a seriously noisy world. One that's always pushing us to perform, to declare our big plans, a lot of times before we've even taken the first step.
This is the classic advice, isn't it? Post your workout plan, announce your new side hustle, tweet your resolutions. The whole idea is that if the world is watching, you'll be too afraid to fail. But does that external pressure actually work the way we think it does?
But what if there's another way? A path that doesn't need an audience, or likes, or any of that public scorekeeping. What about the power of quiet, focused progress?
This quote just nails it. It perfectly captures that idea of the silent achiever. You know these people. They're the ones who are building something amazing in private, and then bam, they let the results do the talking. They're not being secretive, they're being focused.
So what's really going on in their heads? How on earth do they stay motivated without that external push? Well, it all comes down to where their drive actually comes from.
Okay, this right here, this is the absolute core of the whole thing. Internal validation. It's the engine for the silent achiever. Their feeling of accomplishment, it's not tied to how many likes they get. It comes from one thing, meeting their own high standards. Now, what's really fascinating is the brain science behind this. When you announce a goal, you get this immediate dopamine hit from everybody's approval. It's like a quick sugar rush for your ego, right? You get rewarded for the idea, not the actual work. But that feeling disappears fast. The silent achievers, though, they're running on a different fuel, their internal standards. Their satisfaction comes from the long, steady burn of the process, not the short-term high of the announcement. And this internal drive is protected by a really powerful and very deliberate choice. They value their privacy way more than they value popularity. And that's a strategy, not a weakness. Think about it. The second you announce a big goal, it's not just yours anymore. It's out there for everyone to judge, to give you their unsolicited advice, to project their own fears onto it. By keeping it private, you're basically creating a safe little incubator for your goal to grow, away from what the source calls the digital illusion of what everyone else thinks.
And this all leads to another kind of superpower, cognitive independence. This is the ability to just trust your own gut, to walk your own path, even if it's not the trendy hustle culture thing you see all over your feed. You're not getting pushed around by the noise. You're following your own internal compass. Okay, so we've covered the why, but how does this actually work in real life? Let's get into the how. Because it's not about big, grand statements. It's all about small, disciplined, daily actions. So instead of banking on a one-time public promise to keep them on track, silent achievers build systems. They build reliable habits. They know that real change doesn't come from a big, flashy announcement. It comes from the consistent, boring, unglamorous work you do every single day.
And this is all about playing the long game. These folks aren't obsessed with a specific deadline that they can post about. No, they're focused on making sure they're pointed in the right direction. It's a marathon, not a sprint for a quick social media post.
So what does this look like in practice? Well, first, it's all about building those tiny, consistent habits that add up to something huge over time. Second, you have to actively ignore the hype. Resist that temptation for the easy dopamine hit of a big announcement. And third, you measure what actually matters, your own long-term growth, not the short-term buzz you can create online.
So what's the big takeaway here? What are we supposed to do with all this? It's pretty simple, actually. There's no single right way to be ambitious. It's all about figuring out the approach that actually fuels you, not the one that just looks good to everyone else.
So let's just quickly recap the psychological pillars of this whole private approach. It's being driven by your own standards. It's trusting your systems, not your promises.
valuing your privacy over popularity, thinking for yourself, and always playing the long game. That's the playbook right there.
And if you remember just one thing from all of this, let it be this: silence is not a lack of ambition. For some of the most focused people out there, it's actually a deliberate, powerful strategy. It's the environment they create to make their biggest goals a reality.
So I'll just leave you with this question to chew on. In this unbelievably loud world we live in, what does your ambition sound like? Does it need an audience, or does it do its best work in the quiet?